Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Nick. I think we're just waiting on Timmy to join.
Yep, we have about 5 minutes until NFP comes out. Currently not even at my computer yet, but I will be home in about 5 minutes.
All right. Yeah, I was looking at the schedule for today. We got a bunch of stuff coming out. Let me pull that up again. All right. Yeah. So for today, we have the U.S. employment rate, then U.S. U.S. employment report, then the U.S. unemployment rate, then U.S. hourly rate wages, and then hourly wages year over year, all coming out today in about 5 minutes. So we'll cover all of that too.
It's going to be one heck of a jobs report, given every employment report given with the Fed is one to watch. I don't know how well markets are going to react if it's a hotter number. I think estimates are near 200,000. Some estimates I saw, they only predicted 150,000. But given ADP, Andrew, I don't know how well this is going to be a good metric to determine with employment. We saw, I think, claims back to levels not seen since August, if I remember correctly, on Wednesday. So this is going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what you have to say because you definitely have more information on all this stuff than I do. So there's a lot to learn from you about all this. So I'm excited. And then I think I got some topics I want to cover, some stocks I've been watching. And then I'm also excited to see what our other hosts, I'm excited to see what Timmy has to say about the crypto markets, want to ask him about that. So it's gonna be a fun time. Just waiting for them to join.
Rishi, good morning. What are your thoughts regarding this current market right now? We have about 3 minutes until NFP.
Yeah, so I was seeing some, forecasts and stuff like you said, like 200,000. I saw some around 191, so I'm pretty excited to see what happens at this 8:30 meeting. I I'm thinking that discretionary sector is probably going to be falling, considering that we're seeing like expected pullbacks in like the state of the consumer and stuff. So let's see.
It will be interesting to see how well the unemployment rate comes in at if it stays at 4% or below, because we're in multi months now. I think we're 30 some consecutive months with the unemployment rate at or below 4%. But then you have to look at the questioning of rounding and unrounding, because there's a lot of times that they round up. And I think with the last jobs report, if they didn't round up, it would actually be lower than what they said last month. I think they rounded up to 4%. If they didn't, I believe it would still be at 3.39. So it's
Yeah.
going to be interesting to see how well rounding does. And even wages, because there's a lot of claims now saying wages are outpacing inflation. And we know
Yeah.
that. But how well is that? I mean, how can wages continue to keep going up if inflation comes down? It's going to be one to watch.
I mean, yeah, we've been seeing like projections of 0.3% increases in average hourly wages, but we've seen like the Fed saying that this may be too high of an increase. We want to see wages of they want to see wages increases of 0.1% to 0.2% for this low inflation climate that they're trying to achieve.
Do you guys have any predictions on the rate cuts for this year? How many we might get?
I was going to say regarding rate cuts, it's interesting to see how a lot of people were coming into this year predicting five, and we're down to one, maybe two. My thought is we either get one or two. I think September could be a go, skip November because it's election, and I think we either cut in December. I'm either predicting one or two, either hold off in September and wait to December, or vice versa, or maybe both.
Yeah, I think definitely no more than two. Probably one, and like you said, skip November definitely because of election. So yeah, we'll see what what happens.
Yeah, I'm also just expecting one rate cut for 2024 because I feel like everyone's waiting for like true solid evidence that inflation is gonna cool down and slow. So
It is
Yeah,
8:30. I don't have any data yet on my watch, given I'm not home yet, but I'm like a minute away. I don't know if anybody else has the numbers.
let me
I will
check.
check. It still says pending. Let's see. So the unemployment rate is 4.1%, and the employment change was 206,000, above that 200,000 actual. I mean projected that they had. Uh, okay,
So the unemployment rate actually ticked up a
picked up.
tenth, which is interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, you know, this is really going to complicate the question here with the Fed, and I don't know if that's going to be even better of a better question or worse, given this environment we are in right now.
Yeah, I think when we finally do get some rate cuts, it's going to be quite interesting to watch because you got to remember like how much we dropped because of the increase in inflation, and we really only got out of that dip because of AI. So to see what happens when we finally do start cutting will be interesting.
I can't tell what are futures doing regarding the data. Can anybody tell me?
Let me see. Let me look at what's going on. All right, so pre-market everything, S&P is still up about 0.14% pre-market, but I don't know what's going on with everything else.
Yeah, I expect to see most of the major changes happen after market opens, but let's see. Um, okay, so we're also seeing that the hourly earnings have met forecasts at 0.3%.
I'm trying to see what everything else is doing pre-market right now. All right, yeah, it all looks like I think everything's up. I couldn't check the Dow though. Hold on. Also, by the way, I think Timmy said that Spaces was glitching for him, so he couldn't hear anyone if he was trying to join. So I think,
I saw it said he was trying to listen, but I actually couldn't see his name. I don't know if Timmy can join on a cellular device, maybe.
yeah, I said, can you refresh or open another browser? So hopefully he can figure it out.
So I don't want to get into politics, but now that we have a 4.1% unemployment rate, that breaks the streak of sub 4 under Biden. How does this, putting a spin on it, does this complicate the election matters further?
I mean, from my perspective, I think I don't think it would make a huge difference. I mean, I think um, Biden will still, try to show, what he was able to do to the economy in this time, no matter if we had stayed under 4 or not.
Yeah, I think we'll see both of the sides, like a lot of positive and negative press regarding that. Just depends political stances.
I was going to say, Bitcoin, I do want to turn to crypto because Bitcoin is having some interesting things. I think over the holiday was dropping to 58,000, lowest in quite some time. Crypto markets seem very volatile. Do we have an idea who's better with crypto, Trump or Biden?
I do not know. I think the crypto people were really leaning towards Trump, but I'm not sure.
I think Timmy would be able to give us a good analysis of that.
Yeah, Timmy would.
Yeah.
So once he gets on, we could
We talk
talk
about
to him about that.
Yeah.
Has anyone been following what's going on with Paramount? Because they're trying to merge right now, and I've been following that stock.
Are you guys thinking,
company.
do you think, let's pivot to airline stocks here, because I think it'll be interesting to see once we get some travel numbers how well the data shows this. But I think travel was expected to be the highest ever so far this year. I believe estimates were going to be around 2.99 million to like 3 million on an average of people traveling. If that does happen, do we think airline stocks could see a rise?
I'm currently in Delta right now, but I haven't been following the airlines too much right now.
Yeah. I feel like maybe with all these numbers that are coming out, we could see a decrease in, travel and stuff like that, considering that the state of the consumer has been declining a little bit for June.
Yeah, I was just looking at what's going on with Paramount because I was saying they're trying to merge because they haven't been doing too well. But yeah, they're trying to merge with a company called Skydance, which is actually owned and operated by Larry Ellison's son, David Ellison. And that actually made the stock shoot up the other day, like 7%. So I've been just tracking them because I find
Andrew, any other topics do you want to touch on?
No. Oh, I think Timmy was able to get on.
Yeah, I think you gotta give him speaking privileges.
Yeah.
Timmy, if you want to request the mic.
And then we'll talk all about the crypto markets with what's going on with Bitcoin too.
Yeah.
Andrew, can you hear me?
Oh, maybe Nick. Can Nick not hear us?
Oh, I can hear it. I can hear him.
I can hear him, but I don't know if he can hear
Andrew
us.
now. That's weird.
Oh, Nick, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay.
That's weird.
Andrew. Oh, okay. Andrew, you want to rejoin or something?
Yeah, I'll rejoin.
All right.
To see.
Can you, Nick? Can you see Timmy as listener? I think he's trying to.
Yes, I can see him as listener. Let me invite him to speak.
Oh, I think he just left or something.
Okay, now I can hear Andrew.
All right.
Yeah,
great.
I can hear Andrew now. Oh, Timmy's on.
All right. Were you able to invite him to speak, Nick?
Timmy, good morning.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Finally able to get in.
There we go. Can you speak to crypto? I had a crypto question. Just want to throw it out to you, given your you love crypto. Do we have an understanding of which better, given it's an election year, which presidency is better for crypto, if it's Biden or Trump? Not asking you to take political sides, but what does the data and analyzing it show?
Yeah, sure. So not taking any political sides, I would say that it is definitely 110% Trump. Trump is in support of Bitcoin. He takes donations in Bitcoin. I mean, his campaign does. He's launched an NFT collection. Biden is, yeah, they're called Trump cards. Biden is very, very hostile to crypto. He hasn't personally taken much of a stance on it, but his administration has definitely made significant moves that are hostile to crypto. And Gary Gensler, who I believe he elected or brought on, is very, very hostile to crypto. He's basically like the crypto villain. So the Trump administration is definitely friendly to crypto, and the Biden administration is hostile.
Do you think coming into this election year, if we see where Bitcoin is, I don't know if you saw, but Tom Lee thinks Bitcoin could be going to 150,000, I believe in 2030 that was. How do we kind of put Bitcoin through the Fed cycle now, given the rate cuts, possibly given this economic data? Do you have a prediction of where Bitcoin might end the year at?
It's confusing. I think there's this weird event, which was the Bitcoin ETFs, and there's a lot of mixed opinions about what's going to actually happen. Uh, like, if you follow previous Bitcoin market cycles, Bitcoin would typically rise and like begin its bull run by around the end of this year. But it actually broke its all-time high, I believe, in January or February of this year. So it definitely it might have accelerated the typical market cycles, but it's also very hard to say. I don't think the Fed has much of an impact on Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is generally seen as more so. Like, if you imagine the Fed might lower rates, and that would boost the economy, or it might raise rates. I honestly haven't been following macro, but like, would you rather earn 5% or would you rather earn like 50%? And like, I think that's the question that most people are asking when they think about Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is just on a whole nother level of returns. I don't know if that answers your question, but I think Bitcoin is kind of detached from macro.
No, that is a really good take, because we do hear a lot of people trying to say Bitcoin is attached to macro, where if you kind of really look at it and how you explained it, it really is detached from it. And so it will be interesting to see how well Bitcoin does this year. And given it trades 24/7, if we see the volatility that we have been seeing, and I know over the break I saw a few headlines, 58,000. Do you think that, I don't know if you follow, but Michael Saylor of, you know, the Bitcoin Wiz, he loves Bitcoin. Do you think that a lot of these big influencers have an impact on Bitcoin, where the price is, and where they talk and how it all shapes up?
So it depends on what influencers. Michael Saylor is always bullish Bitcoin. So him saying that he's bullish Bitcoin now is just that's a constant. Michael Saylor will always be bullish Bitcoin. If you're talking about celebrities entering the crypto space, the truth is most of those are just scams. It's very transient. Celebrities launch meme coins, they pump them up for a couple weeks, and then their insiders sell. So I think like the typical celebrities like Iggy Azalea or Lil Pump, like that doesn't make much of an impact. And I think most of the people who are like in the crypto space are kind of always bullish Bitcoin. And so Michael Saylor being like the epitome of that, like he is such a crazy Bitcoin bull. He's going to be a Bitcoin bull forever. He's never said anything negative about Bitcoin. He's always been buying Bitcoin. Um, so yeah, I don't think people like Michael Saylor saying that Bitcoin is going to go up is ever really going to have much of an impact on its price, because he's always saying that Bitcoin is going to go up. He's very heavily invested.
Do you think we could get a Solana ETF anytime soon? And would the Trump presidency help with that?
I think that they'll get it either way. I don't think a Solana ETF is contingent on the Biden presidency. I think if we're going to get a Solana ETF, it'll probably be 1 or 2 months after the Ethereum ETF, just because if Ethereum can get an ETF, then most other coins can really get an ETF. I think maybe the next like big ETF test would be if something like Cardano can get an ETF, or not Cardano, Ripple, just very, very institutionalized coins. Or I mean coins that have had insiders and pre-sales and so on. But I think if I think if Ethereum can get an ETF, then most other cryptocurrencies can get an ETF.
Just wanted to recap here. We have about 5 minutes left here. U.S. equity futures um, mixed right now per my screen here. Well, actually, they're higher right now after we got some eco data. I don't know if you guys saw, especially Andrew, this headline just crossing. U.S. rate future traders pricing slightly stronger chance of September, December rate cuts after jobs report. That's going to be very interesting given unemployment rate just ticked up to 4.1, highest since November of 21. November of 21, I should say. And this, seeing some headlines on Twitter saying there's a lot of unemployment rates in the individual sector spiked up rather quickly, something that not many people were expecting.
Yeah, I also want to see like if we get that rate cut in September, just like how often we said probably maybe December, but also how often are we going to start cutting after that, right? And I mean also how much each meeting, but yeah, I'll just be interested to see how quickly it comes down because I think even once we get the first rate cut, it will probably take, they're going to take it slow and steady. They don't want to um do anything crazy. So once we even see the first one, we'll have to wait a little while for it really to come down.
I mean, Rishi, do you have any thoughts regarding this market here? If the economy can sustain these high interest rates, I mean, 10-year, if you look at it on a note basis, it's up near 4.5. We've seen a lot of divergence. When 10-year note goes up, the market tends to go down.
Yeah, so related to the rate cuts as you were talking before, I feel like there are going to be fewer rate cuts this year, probably like one, as you said before. Can you repeat the last part of your question?
Yeah, you saw 10-year note and we have treasury yields continuing to move higher. I mean, whenever those 10-year specifically moves higher, we start to see the market kind of pull off. If they normally don't move in sync, so they normally don't, one goes higher, the other goes higher. They tend to move in opposite directions. So can this market continue to move higher if 10-year continues to go up on a basis that you're looking that past performance is no guarantee of future results? Or are we in this market where the market's going to go up no matter what? If you talk about AI, if you talk about the rate cuts, if you talk about technology, I mean, we've seen the rally hasn't broadened out. It's specifically in tech. Is tech the
Yeah.
only thing that's holding this market together?
No, I agree with the latter half actually. Like I feel like tech has really been holding up this year. Um, with the state of the consumer being pretty heavily upwards towards the first quarter, and now it's kind of moving downward. We can still see the markets pretty much going up with all the technology stuff that's coming out, like Nvidia, and then as Andrew had said, before, like the Paramount merger and stuff like that. So it's like this entire tech industry is kind of like pushing our market upwards, I feel like.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, we should be very thankful for what tech has done because, I mean, we had that huge dip because of rate cuts, and we didn't recover from that because, or not, sorry, not rate cuts, inflation, and we didn't recover from that because of rate cuts. We haven't had any. We recovered from that because of
Exactly.
this crazy AI boom,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, tech has really been helping us here in this,
Yeah,
right?
probably one of the leading, indicators and leading effectors of the entire market upward movement. I'm really like looking forward to see what happens to the market when it opens at 9. I want to see what happens due to all the things that just came out.
Yeah, I know we aren't able to stay till the market open today, but maybe next time we'll move it a little, later. So maybe we'll do like 9 to 9:30, so we'll be able to see what happens at market open.
Yeah, I think we might see a little bit of movement downwards or like a pullback, especially because typically we've seen July, like the day after July 4th has typically seen downward movements in the market. And then combined with the negative surprise from the unemployment rate, I don't know, we could possibly see a downward movement. What do you think, Nick?
I believe we have some other economic data after this, just a few consumer stuff. Well, actually, no, we don't have any economic data after this. Taking a look at the calendar. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how traders play this, given it is a day after the holiday. I don't expect too much trading action, but you never know, given it is typical holiday. We just got some economic data. We might actually not see the reflection in the markets until Monday.
All right. Before, I know we have to close up soon. Nick, I just want to get your thoughts on what's going on with the IPO market, and do you see any big IPOs coming anytime soon?
No, that's a good question. I always put out a calendar. I've been looking at the calendar to see how many IPOs we have priced each week. We have about 200 right now in the market that's waiting to launch. We don't know when they're going to be priced. We don't know when they're going to be coming. But the IPO market is slowly coming back. It's going to be interesting to see if these IPOs that are going to be taken to the market can sustain this market. I think they're just waiting to launch for when the correct time it comes. If you're into tech, anything into AI, and you're in the IPO market, right now is the correct time to launch. If you're in the consumer waiting for some spending, like if you're a jewelry store, anything consumers would like, the time may not be to launch right now, given I do expect consumer spending to possibly slow. We will figure that out when we get the Amazon Prime Day. It will be interesting to look at those metrics as I've been highlighting.
Yeah, I remember I actually heard you speak about that in the last live stream. That was pretty interesting. But yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think tech IPOs would definitely be doing better compared to consumer due to the declining or slowing state of the consumer as of right now.
All right. We do have to wrap it up now, right, Nick? Because you have to go soon, right?
Yes, I have to go. If you guys don't know, I do social media intern here at Benzinga, but I also help host live trading, which will actually be live here in about 8 minutes on YouTube. You can also watch it here on X. Head over to Benzinga. It will launch right onto the platform. I will see you guys there. Going to be talking markets, going to be talking stocks. Even if you hop into the chat, we do take stocks from you guys. I don't have much news to cover this morning, given it was a holiday yesterday. So come join us on live trading. Through the chat. I'll be there through the chat and even on stream. Going to talk employment report because we have a lot to talk about this morning, given this does dampen a little bit with the Fed. So come join us. We will be doing these spaces, Young Minds and Market Finds, more often. Please give us a follow. Give us panel a follow, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody, for joining.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.